Yes, I know how it was, overthink everything. But in most cases, you don't even have to think. Just look up the relevant sources in connection with the case you are interested in and read
But we
them.
were told not to do our own research because we might end up making wrong assumptions and come to conclusions, which
You
are
don't
not.
have to worry about that.
Really?
As I've said it, you don't have to think. Just look up the archives and other places where you can find the documentation. For example, in the case of the sinking of the Titanus Imperi, all you have to do is read the accounts of the survivors, which were archived, and you will find out that the show they made out of it has nothing to do with the real.
Didn't they turn it into a tragic love story?
They did, and when you look
Yeah,
up
the guy was like shouting all the way down to the others until they really started to sink, and then he just
Joe,
released.
you don't have to tell me how the show ended. I know it. What I wanted to tell you is, the survivors told a different story. Even if we put aside the play they've made out of it, a lot of important things happened there which did not become, how should I put it?
Mainstream?
Well known to the public.
Okay. But when it comes to the survivors, weren't they drunk?
No.
Are you sure about that?
Well, maybe they were, but it won't change the fact that they told a different story.
But how could they know what happened to them if they were all boozed up?
And how could the officials know if they were not there to witness it?
What do you mean?
Those who made the conclusions and wrote down the final draft were not there. They didn't see what happened.
Yeah, but neither the survivors because it was pitch dark.
So you are telling me the survivors didn't see anything because of the darkness?
Yes, they say it was so dark they couldn't see.
Which means that they couldn't see what caused the so-called accident.
So-called accident?
Yes. You do know that the officials claimed it was caused by a giant Frost Atronach conveniently floating in the water near Solitude.
Isn't that an everyday thing there?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, you've got dragons and shit just rambling around the continent.
No, it is not an everyday thing in Tamriel. In fact, it is so unusual, some critics argued, that the official statement was a deliberate false representation of the event with the intention of hiding something.
All right, but why is it so unbelievable that an ice monster can destroy a ship?
You mean a Frost Atronach?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so let me get this straight. A Frost Atronach. At that time of year, at that time of night, in that part of the continent, localized entirely northeast of Solitude, conveniently floating at the exact sea lane on which the Titanus Imperi was sailing.
Yeah, why not?
Can you bring up some evidence and show it to the viewers?
No, I can't.
Neither I nor anyone else. And that's why so many critics said that. You know, one would assume it did not happen the way the official statement claimed, even questioning if it was an accident at all.
Okay, but this is what I've said. We were not supposed to assume things and end up with conclusions which are...
I am not making assumptions. I'm telling you that the official statement told a different story, and it is obvious if you read the accounts of the survivors who actually witnessed it.
So when it comes to the official statement and what the witnesses said, how different are they?
Very.
Yeah, okay, but in some parts, or maybe the whole statement is just...
In the most important parts. Let's begin with the so-called accident.
With the ice giant.
Yeah, they said it was a ginormous Frost Atronach that ripped off the bow of the ship, but when it comes to the accounts of the witnesses, the ones who were in the lobby heard and felt an explosion under the place.
Wasn't the lobby in the middle of the ship?
Yes, it was, and it happened to be the exact section where the ship broke into two parts.
But they say the ship broke apart while it was sinking.
There are a few accounts about it with minor contradictions and a part which is almost identical in all of them, telling how the hull broke apart and began to form a V while the ship was sinking.
What we?
The letter V.
Oh, okay, but that's what I've said. The ship broke apart while it was sinking.
The official story claimed that the second half broke off mid-air due to the way it was sinking forward because of the missing bow. But based on what the witnesses said, the two almost completely separated parts were sinking in a way that they formed an almost perfect V while still visible above water level.
So the ship was not sinking forward?
No, but of course the accounts of the witnesses were discredited or ignored. There's even a sketch of how they saw the ship sink.
It's interesting how they just ignored all of this.
Yeah, and I haven't even mentioned the missing lifeboats, the crew using fireworks instead of flares or fire magic, the master key of the ship also missing, and some important personnel not being present on the ship at the time.
Who are you talking about?
the captain of the Titanus Imperi who called the ship practically unsinkable and the wonder of imperial craftsmanship. He's said to be too sick to take part in the voyage. They accused him of taking the master key and losing it somewhere, but there was no evidence, so
Was the captain the only one who didn't show up?
No, a family member of the Goldbeards was supposed to be on board, but he received a letter about some unforeseen complications related to a deal. The acquisition of a mining company, which after the sinking of the ship, was bought by the Goldbeards anyway.
Maybe it was really important and he managed to solve the complication.
I don't think so.
Why? Do you know something that might change the way people see his story?
The captain who didn't show up for the trip was the cousin of an influential mining company owner. The cousin of the captain was married to the granddaughter of one of the members of the Elder Council, who voted yes in a very important referendum.
I don't know anything about this.
The referendum couldn't have passed if the two passengers on the Titanus Imperi, two very important members of the Elder Council, hadn't died because of the so-called accident.
They didn't want the referendum to pass?
They were using their influence to defeat the referendum and planned to vote against it. The council was divided about the case, but ended up being more favorable towards the opposition, which means that it couldn't have passed.
And what was this referendum about?
Some members wanted to grant the Goldbeards' assets exclusive imperial charters so they could handle the Empire's gold supply.
The Goldbeards' assets?
The agencies who work for them.
Wait, this is a conspiracy theory.
It's a conspiracy. The Goldbeards are well-known conspirators, and the referendum has passed, granting them the right to hold the Empire by its balls.
But if you don't have actual evidence, it is still just a conspiracy theory.
Okay, maybe it is also coincidental that the story was turned into a romantic tragedy show and canonized as an accident by imperial writers who were the descendants of traitors to the Empire during the Great War.
I guess maybe it is just a coincidence after all.
And how do you explain that the passengers in the lobby who heard an explosion under the place were told to calm down and stay there?
I think they didn't realize that the shit was sinking.
The passengers?
No, the workers.
The personnel working on the ship?
Yeah, maybe they thought it was some kind of a function.
What? The sinking?
Yeah, you have to use your imagination and see things from their perspective.
No, I don't have to use my imagination. All I had to do was read the accounts of the witnesses.
Okay, let's say it happened because of an actual conspiracy. Why would the Goldbeards take risks like this? Wouldn't it because they're downfall of someone?
Because they want everything. Everything has to be in their possession.
So their goal is to own everything.
No. The Goldbeards and the Altmer in general think they already own everything. Their only job is to remove those who are in the possession of anything that still hasn't fallen into their hands.
Which means that the best way to explain what's going on in their minds is Minecraft.
It's just, I don't.
What?
I mean, look, I'm not saying that these things are so tiresome. I would rather write a dissertation on Argonian cuisine, but I've begun to feel something burning the back of my head, and it's coming from the inside.
Really?
Yeah, I have to get it checked because it might affect my functionality.
All right, just give me a few seconds so I can explain it. It makes sense.
You know, we could all be reading a book right now.
Oh, come on, man.
Okay, go on.
So, to begin with, most people can't understand how you could move to someone else's land, start wrecking everything, and then truly believe you're the victim when they want to kick you out, unless you play Minecraft. And it's because when you start a Minecraft game, you invade a beautiful world full of creatures and immediately start wrecking and hoarding everything. Soon enough, the native monsters start attacking you, and when they do that, you feel you are the victim, not them. When the monsters kill you in Minecraft, you don't say, "Oh, well, I guess I should stop bothering them." You double down and swear vengeance on the monsters that killed you. Why do you do this?
Don't look at me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because you believe the Minecraft world belongs to you. It is your game running on your computer, for you. Therefore, you are entitled to wreck and hoard everything you want because it's all yours. It's your world inside your game.
You mean the royal you?
The Goldbeards.
And the Altmer in general.
Yeah.
You do know that I'm not one of them, right?
I'm trying to explain it this way because I want you to see things from their perspective, from their position.
But I don't want to see things from their perspective. I know how they think.
Okay, so this is literally how high elves see the world. This is the most pure of the elven kind, and above all others, delusion. They essentially believe that the world and everything in it was created for them and only them. As such, your land and your wealth is theirs by default. They didn't move into your country. From their perspective, they moved to a piece of land that was put there for them. You and your family and all the others are just like the monsters in Minecraft. This is why they feel no shame. Reality is their private little video game, all of which exists for them. Why should they feel shame moving wherever they want, then doing whatever they want, if the creator of the universe has told them they're holy and special, and the entire planet and all of reality is their property?
While I think it was completely unnecessary, I also have to add that your explanation was decent. You have improved.